Today, we want to recognize the accomplishments of an extraordinary entrepreneur and business mind. In a capitalist society, improvements in our standard of living are, in large part, a function of the progress that private companies make. And in the history of capitalism, which, by the way, is by far the best system in the world, few people have been a greater catalyst for progress and change, positive change in the private sector, than Jeff Bezos. Last week, Bezos announced he would step down as Amazon CEO, bringing a graceful close to what will go down as one of the greatest business legacies we have ever witnessed. What Bezos has achieved is, simply put, unprecedented, taking a firm from zero to $1.6 trillion in market capitalization, turning cost centers, including product fulfillment, technology, and content, that at one point represented over 90% of revenues, into new business lines, including Amazon Web Services, Amazon Basics, Amazon Publishing, and Amazon Fulfillment. Think about that. Take your biggest costs and turn them into enormous businesses. Talk about a jujitsu move for the ages. 3, establishing a monogamous relationship with 82% of U.S. households. Nobody in history has accomplished any of those things, let alone all 3. Over the past 12 months, Amazon hired over 500,000 people. They have become, in their 27-year history, the second largest employer in America. Bezos is also responsible for one of the biggest pay hikes of all time. Do they have problems with labor relations? Have they tried to bust unions? Yes, but that's time for another episode. By lifting the minimum wage at Amazon in 2018 from as low as $10 in some locations to $15 nationwide, over 250,000 full-time Amazon employees and another 100,000 seasonal workers benefited. And even more workers benefited by following or being forced to follow Amazon. In sum, Jeff Bezos may be responsible for the biggest one-day raise of the American workforce in history. Can't wait for the comments on that one. Bezos was both a dreamer and deliverer of grand visions. The most trusted brand in the world, Amazon. What is a brand? One part promise, one part performance. In his prescient investor letter of 1997, Bezos articulated his relentless focus on his customers and what he knew from day one. But what took many of us years to realize, it was never about books. In order to innovate, you have to be willing to perform infanticide on the shit that isn't working. One of the things I notice with boards I work with is that we enter into consensual hallucination that the things we're doing are working, because none of us want to say that the kid is really fucking ugly. The Fire Phone is one such misstep that resulted in a $170 million write-off for unsold Fire Phones. From day one, Bezos nurtured a culture of builders and inventors and had a humble conviction in success through iteration. No joke, we didn't have anything delivered yesterday from Amazon, so the driver came here anyways, knocked on my door and asked if everything was all right. Anyways, the willingness to try new things was pivotal to the company's success, as many experiments paid off. See above: AWS, Amazon Prime, Amazon Video. Amazon's one-click patent, which expired in 2017, was by one estimate said to increase Amazon sales by as much as 5% in 2011, equating to $2.5 billion in that year alone. Think about what Amazon has done here. They revolutionized retail with e-commerce. They revolutionized the cloud, and now they revolutionize how we communicate and interact with everything digital. That's right, voice. The second lesson we can learn from Bezos: play the long game. Play the long game. I'm trying to think how we could apply that to what's going on in today's news, i.e., don't day trade. That's just fucking stupid. Don't day trade. Anyway, back to Bezos. In an era where most companies are focused on the next quarter's results, Bezos was already planning the next decade and pulling the future forward. First to our doorsteps, and more recently directly into our kitchens and bedrooms. For a long time, the market didn't agree with this, and from late 2003 to 2008, Amazon stock traded sideways until it began to register the results and potential from Amazon's experiments. That's right. For those of you who are younger than me, i.e. most of you or all of you, there was a long period of time where Amazon stock was flat. I remember rumors that Amazon was actually going out of business. As a result, Amazon enjoyed decades of investor patience and access to cheaper capital, more so than any company in modern history, and still commands a greater revenue multiple than Walmart. Bezos played the long game until the end. You know how you get really, really fucking rich? Slowly. In Amazon's Q1 2020 earnings call, Bezos said, if you're a share owner in Amazon, you may want to take a seat. Effectively saying, we're taking all of our $4 billion in profits and we're piling it back into growth. Fast forward 3 quarters, and Bezos leaves Amazon after a record $125 billion in revenues in Q4. Those investments meant Amazon could keep functioning during the pandemic, meaning it could be the public utility for retail we needed. If not for Amazon, and to a lesser extent Walmart, people would have grabbed their Glocks and looted Publix. Does that sound like I don't have a lot of faith in the American people? Again, I live in Florida. Lesson 3, management matters. Plenty of big-time CEOs appear to take pride in being difficult to work for, and they let less visionary people worry about the details. Bezos made building his team a top priority and was as innovative internally as he was externally to his consumers. His most famous internal innovation was the ban on PowerPoint decks, and in their place, the 6-pager, a written memo that was required of any proposal to be read front to back at the outset of meetings. I love that. The written word is a lost art. It demands a certain level of discipline and clarity around your thinking. Bezos developed a core set of what he called leadership principles, and every Amazon manager is trained to use them to tackle every issue, from billion-dollar bets to organizing their holiday party. Is it a little bit of a cult? Absolutely. And guess where the word culture comes from? Overall, executive turnover at Amazon has been estimated at 2%, compared to an average of 15% for other high-growth companies, and 24% for Snap and 27% for Tesla. That's right. Snap and Tesla lose the same proportion of employees every 2 weeks as Amazon loses in a year. A fourth lesson, the power of monogamy. Before Amazon, the retail industry was engaged in serial dating. While being single has its moments, it is exhausting and expensive. In 2005, with an incentive of 48 free-hour delivery, basically an IQ test for consumers, Amazon Prime was launched. Prime now has a paying relationship with more households than those that decorate a Christmas tree, own a pet, are members of a church or synagogue, own a landline, or own a gun. Bezos invented and perfected the Rundle, the recurring revenue bundle. When Bezos decided on Amazon as the company name, he walked into his garage and told employees that, open quote, this is not only the largest river in the world, it's many times larger than the next biggest river. It blows all other rivers away. So what does Bezos' departure mean for Amazon's future? Well, first off, my prediction that AWS would be spun is now less likely. Incoming CEO Andy Jassy was president of AWS and now sits on the Iron Throne of all 7 realms of Amazon and will likely not be in as big a hurry to break it up. However, Andy Jassy's new HQ won't be in Seattle. It's going to be in D.C. Jassy will be spending a quarter of his time talking to the antitrust subcommittee. Bezos, as prophetic as ever, didn't want to do this. He'd rather be at the Academy Awards than grilled by senators. Bezos can see the troops at the border and is getting out of the way. There's a real dignity and grace to leaving the stage while people are still applauding. Bezos isn't just ringing the bell and leaving. He's smashing the biggest gong in the world with the stock at an all-time high. At this moment, Bezos is the most impactful and impressive business executive of all time. Oh my God, I'm kissing this guy's ass right now. Pucker up, dog. Are there problems at Amazon? Yes. But this is a moment to give this guy not a gold watch, but his $42 million, 10,000-year clock and a much-deserved victory lap around the earth on his Blue Origin rocket ship. Also, I have owned Amazon stock since 2007, and for the last 7 years, Amazon has recruited more kids out of my brand strategy course than any other employer, providing them with a fantastic start to their careers and their ability to build economic security for them and their families. What Mr. Bezos has accomplished over the last 25 years is meaningful. But what this day is about and what is most exciting about this day is not only recognizing the last quarter century, but being hopeful about what could happen over the next 25 years. If Mr. Bezos decides to apply his incredible business acumen, his capital, and his contacts to address some of the very serious issues in the world. Simply put, the last 25 years have been meaningful. The next 25 years for Mr. Bezos could be profound. We'll see you next week.